All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Scott Tessmer, Chief Program Officer, and Mike Hudson is joining me today, our ISD Chief. Want to talk to you about a project that came out of your input, the field input from the roadmap, and the request to how do we do innovation better in Central Region? What can we do to improve it? And based on the input that was given, Mike, Randy Graham from STI, and Brian Wallander, who was in with the SFD, got together and said, how do we provide an opportunity for people to share ideas? How do we provide an opportunity for people to develop collaboratively and improve the process and not recreate a system of checks and balances or overcommit resources? So the collaborative innovation marketplace is really just an open forum, an opportunity for people to share ideas they're working on. Those ideas can be everything from scripts, methodology, tools, what people are doing with outreach programs, what people are doing for operations services. And it's not to be a place to just put stuff up there to show it. It's a place to put up information to create opportunities for growth. Why we're asking people to participate, why we're going forward with the marketplace is to become better customers of ourselves, have a greater understanding of each other and where we can go together as a team. And we have several programs that people will develop in an office, and they're very similar to what's happening in other offices. So why not get folks who are working on similar programs to start sharing and talking to create better joint products, add the diversity, add the complexity of what it is to have a program that runs not only the Northern Plains, but also down in the Rockies. So creating those opportunities is what the goal of this marketplace is. We hope to bring together the talent from offices and provide a best common solution that can be shared across the region, and potentially by having a common regional solution gives us a better opportunity to bring things forward for national expansion. And again, it's not a replacing of any program that's already in existence. It's a chance to bring more information together. We also hope that this helps unify interoperability, similar offices and dissimilar offices, whether it be WFOs, RFC, CWSUs, what's happening that's allowing offices to do interoperability better and improve that situation. So a huge chance for collaboration and innovation in those places. Again, not Central Region headquarters saying yes or no to a program. Many of you might remember the program, I believe, Mike, it was called NIAB. I'm not even sure what NIAB stood for anymore. But that was where we had people submit ideas. They went through a review panel, and people thumbs up, thumbs down, some resources were identified. And in many cases, those resources, thank you, Sally, the New Idea Advisory Board. This isn't the New Idea Advisory Board. This is a place to commonly share peer-to-peer and to grow ideas. It's not a place where we're going to commit resources or say yes or no to a program specifically, but also provide access for Central Region headquarters when we see something to say, do you know about X or Y? Or how does this fit in with this system? And to share information to a greater extent with that. Again, we want to mitigate certain things like duplication of effort and single office solutions and create things that are broader and wider. Before I go through the website, Mike, what else did you want to add, or is there anything else that really wasn't covered so far?
Yeah, thanks, Scott, and good morning, everyone. So Scott had mentioned the New Idea Advisory Board, and for those of you that are new to the agency, or at least new within the last decade, when we tried that back in the late part of the 2000s and maybe into the 2010 timeframe, the concept behind that was you had an idea. So I'll pick on Andy just because I see him on my screen. So Andy has an idea, and he submits it to this board of reviewers, which was made up mostly of MICs and HICs from the field. And they would either say, yeah, we kind of like the idea, or, well, you know, it's a good idea, but we don't think we can do it. And then it would just be passed up to the region to consider doing things. And we had a lot of good ideas. Some got traction and others didn't. The idea behind the collaborative innovation marketplace is really more along the lines of like a Google hackathon than it is a formal proposal of ideas. What we wanted to create was a space where people could come together and share what they're working on in your office. What innovation do you have? Sometimes it's programming, sometimes it's a service type of a concept or a science approach that you're finding works well in your office. But as Scott mentioned, there may be others working on similar things in other offices that you just don't get the opportunity to learn about, right? So by coming together and having these every month on the third Wednesday of every month, you have the opportunity to share something you're doing in a very short format. You know, it's not a real in-depth 30-minute dissertation of a project, but just a little bit of, hey, at WFO Springfield, we're doing this, or at WFO Rapid City, we're doing that. And maybe someone else on the call says, hey, I'm working on something similar. Let's talk. Let's get together and maybe share some ideas. Find the commonalities of what we're doing, and perhaps it grows into a project, right? That eventually looks to become something that can be done, as Scott mentioned, in different types of offices and different regimes of the region. Or perhaps it's just a way to foster collaborative relationships that help you build your networking, that help you build your exposure across the region and other offices where perhaps someday you might wish to work or go do something. The concept behind the collaborative innovation marketplace isn't that things come out of it. And I think that's the biggest difference between the NIAB and this. For the NIAB, it was things come out of it. In this one, it's more about networking, sharing, finding collaborators, which you can then work with on certain things, or maybe hearing about something that you didn't know even existed and reaching out to the person who presented and trying to find a way to build that into your office to perhaps streamline process or improve science or bring some different type of a service program forward. So it's a structured thing, but it's also got plenty of flexibility that allows it to become what you all want it to become, is kind of a place to come and to share what you're working on. By the way, for those of you that have been on any of our science and service checklist visits, we kind of do this already. When we come to your office, we share things, right? We share things we're doing at the regional headquarters, and you share what you're working in your office. And we learn a lot about some really cool things. So our idea was, let's make this available to everyone and make it a regular function so that once a month, we have a chance to have those kind of collective conversations. So I think that pretty much was all I had to add, Scott.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that. You can see the Collaboration Innovation Marketplace is shared with you here on the screen, but I want to help you navigate it. When you're on the home pages in the Central Region intranet, if you run over to Sciences, you will find that there is, it didn't show up on here right now. I'm not sure why. It just showed up in my last one. Let's hit refresh and see if that solves it. It did not. But underneath the science area, the science home, you will see that we have, interestingly enough, the page went away. I will make sure that link works earlier. I had it working this morning earlier, but there's a link.
I think you're showing your edit page, Scott, because I see publish at the upper right. So it's possible you're maybe sharing the wrong screen.
It's okay. That's interesting. Let me unshare and share because I'm not on that page. All right. Thank you, Mike. If we go from here and view publish site, for some reason, the presentation doesn't want to update and it wants to keep going back to, all right. One more try. Interestingly enough, it will not let me share my screen the way I want to. Let's give it one more crack here. All right, is it showing it now, Mike? All right, okay, up here in science, there is supposed to be a collaborative internet. Let's go back to the home. Home of headquarters, over to science, and the science home. The link is still not working properly, but we'll get that fixed here later this morning. So let me back up here to the page. I don't know why it's doing this. Keeps defaulting back to the edit page. All right, the page here, you can see it. I've talked about what the purpose is, what was here earlier. We just want that up there so people understand what it is and what it isn't. Again, not a NIAB, an opportunity to share ideas on how things are working. Right now, there's a format and the functionality just to start sharing ideas. And this is completely voluntary. This gives you an opportunity to just click on a link and be able to share your Google, your ideas in a Google form for the guest speaker series. And when we do that, that information will be shared back in a format that allows people to see what topics, what we're going to be talking about, different information that'll be shared out, and a chance for people to start connecting with ideas. On the third Wednesday every other month, so we meet in September. We probably will not meet again until October. We'll take a double look at the schedule, see what the interest level is. We are going to ask people to present their ideas, to talk about their ideas, to share ideas on the guest speaker call, or if we need to eventually separate out on a separate call. For example, we're using the Cobras as an idea of an example form of what you might want to share in a simple 2-slide format to give folks an idea of the information that we're looking for people to share. So use cases, again, we'll work with you to help you develop the 2 slides, the talking points that you want to work through this. And in the short term, I say we, and that's going to be primarily myself, Mike and Randy as appropriate. We'll see where the program goes and how formal it is, and looking for potentially volunteers in the field to help facilitate this discussion. So we've got a format we plan on following. Again, we'll do coordination groups. We'll allow the presentations. We'll review submissions. We'll schedule presenters. We'll take care of some of the coordination to make sure that folks are talking, communicating, getting support. And then we're also got a Google Space, a chat room that we've got set up, and it will be shared out, that allow people to share information real time with each other, have conversations on topics that we go through, and dashboard of ideas. Again, the dashboard of ideas, as we showed, just an ideas of everything that's been submitted, the different ideas and sharing, not to lose information, not to eliminate information, but to make it transparent, public. This is to facilitate the conversation, not to run the conversation. We're here to help you collaborate in the field and share the best ideas and keep you informed of what's happening at Central Region headquarters that directly relate to your ideas. At this point, there's not a whole lot more I need to share about the website, so I'm looking for questions, thoughts, ideas from anyone in the field. I see nothing in the chat window right now. I will say one little more note here. We understand this is something that has been created. It's been created based on the input we got from the field and roadmap input. But we do have down here, note 4, we're going to give this an evaluation period. We're going to be testing this out for the next year. And if the interest isn't there, we'll make a determination of what direction we go in the future. But again, we want to be responsive to what we read and what was provided to us to support you and to support ideas, collaboration, and innovation. All right, for those of you who were not able to make the call and might be catching this on a recording, please feel free to reach back to myself, reach out to Mike Hudson, talk to us if you have questions on it. Again, we're here to support the field and helping to make things work smoothly. That's all I've got right now. Mike Hudson, anything else you want to add?
No, nothing else other than I highly encourage any of you that have been working on some things that you would like to share among your peers, among the other offices within the region. Please fill that Google form out on the website. Get yourself in queue for the first meeting there in October on that third Wednesday, and we'll really look forward to hearing the discussion and the ideas.
All right. Andy.
Yeah, I've been, listening in and out, and this had some extra calls, but I think the idea is awesome. We've had, it was referenced new idea advisory board earlier, and the Central Region Grid Methodology Advisory Team kind of came out of that. But this whole idea of, helping us sort of, both the collaborate and consolidate innovation. I think some of the initiatives that we've had, certainly on my, ABUS front, we've got cross-regional things that we've done in the past in Central, and essentially we've created single clearinghouses for things. We have a single clearinghouse for formatters. We have a single clearinghouse for the GFE tools and procedures through Forecast Builder. We have it's sort of, and it helps reduce that redundancy of innovation. I'd also like to add, since Adam doing the final comments today on the 9/15, the site visits. We see a lot of great innovation out there mentioned during the offices 2x2. So please, there's a lot of different things in there that could be ideas to be put here into the marketplace.
Thank you, Andy. All right, last call for ideas. Anything to share? I appreciate everyone attending today. I appreciate you moving forward and providing feedback on the process, and again, sharing your ideas. Mike Myers, back to you.
All right. Once again, thanks, Scott. Thanks, Mike, for this presentation. It will be recorded, as you mentioned. So if you have any further questions, just please reach out to Scott and Mike. That will end it for today. Thanks for joining.